chicken and a rooster, Tur Malka was destroyed. Right? Tur Malka means Har HaMelech. There was a place called Har HaMelech. Davanahigi, they used to have a minhag in this place called Har HaMelech. Kavimafki Chasna v'Kalasa, when a Chasna and Kala would be getting married, Mafki come out, Tarnago and Tarnagalasa. They would send in front of them a chicken and a rooster to go in front of them. Kaloima, and they were telling them, Paru v'Ravu Katarnagolam. You should be multiply and be fruitful like chickens. Yom Echad, one day, Halakacholef Gunda Duremoi. One day a Roman legion, Roman soldiers passed by, and they saw this chicken and this rooster, Shakil they took it. They took the chicken and the rooster. So the Jews were very upset. Naflu alayu, they fell on them. Machunu, they killed them. They fought with them. Asu, so people went on to the Kesar. They said to the Kesar, Mardu b'chol yudoy, the Jews are rebelling against you. Asalas, he came to fight against them. Hava b'hu, hahu bar deroima. There was a fellow named Bar Deroima. Dava kavetz mila. He could jump a mill. Takes like 18 minutes to walk, so whatever, like a mile or something. But katal b'hu, and he would kill them. So this guy was a super power guy, and just having him on your team was dangerous. It was a big problem. Shachal Kesar Latagya, the Kesar took his crown, already put it on the ground. Amar, he said, Rebbeinu da'alma kula, the master of the whole world. He said, Hashem, if it's good by you, don't put me, myself, and my whole army in the hands. I don't want to fall in the hands of one man. Basically, he was saying that this Bar Deroima had the power to wipe himself and his whole army out. So he took his crown, he put it on the ground, and he davened to Hashem, and he said, please don't let me fall in the hands of this one fellow. And here we see an illustration of the fact that Hashem was involved in the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash and the destruction of the Jews, because here we have this Roman officer who's davening to Hashem, don't let their superpower destroy me, right?
Is this the officer or Caesar himself?
It's not hard to know when it says the word Caesar.
He had a crown.
Yeah, crown, but maybe there may have been some sort of like lower level Caesars. Generals, I don't know. Yeah? But you're saying you could put him to a crown.
Isn't it also strange? He's davening to Hashem.
Well, this is how we see last time also.
That's what happened last time, right, Nero.
Actually, who made the Bar Deroima? Bar Deroima made a big mistake with his mouth. And he said a pasuk in Tehillim, you Hashem left us, you forsook us. And you do not come out in our armies. When our armies go out to war, you're not with us. That was a very dangerous thing to say, because he basically said, it's my power that's winning this war, and Hashem, you have forsaken us, you're not with us. So Fred the Gemara in brackets, how could it be? It's a pasuk in Tehillim. It's not a pasuk in Tehillim. David Nami Amar. David said this pasuk. How could it be that what he's saying is so terrible if David said it in Tehillim? So the Gemara says no. It all matters where you put how you say it, what your tone is, right? David, it's mui kamatama. David was asking a question. He was saying a wonder, and he said like this: would you forsake us? And you don't come out with our armies. He's davening. He's like sort of matama on Hashem. He's wondering on Hashem. How could you forsake us and not come out? But this fellow, he said it as a statement of fact. He said it as a fact that. No, we're not. What? That he did forsake us, and that he did leave us, and therefore, this one sentence that he said at the same time that the Caesar davened that he should be destroyed, was what caused his destruction. Okay? And what happened? Just so you don't think that the Caesar was more powerful than this guy. No, the Caesar Taka couldn't have wiped him out. But all of Besakise, he went to the bathroom. Asa droikna sham to the karkashte. A snake came and bit him underneath, and v'nach nafshe, and he died. So we see from here that the Jews were sort of depending on the power of this Bar Deroima. He himself was depending on himself, and the Caesar went and davened to Hashem. Right? It should have been the other way, right? And that is part of what led to the destruction. But we shouldn't think that this was just a plain old war between the Romans and the Jews, and the Romans were more powerful. There's other forces here that Hashem was involved, just like we had last time when he sent shot the arrows, and the arrows all landed on Yerushalayim, because this was a destroyed building that was destroyed. It was already planned. Okay, so what happened? So the Caesar said, since I had such a good nace happen to me, that Bar Dorim was destroyed, I'm going to let them off the hook. I'm going to let them off. Hashem saved me, I'm not going to go fight against his people. Shavkinu, he started to go home. Shavkinu Vazal, he left and he started to walk home. His dakur, they started to jump with joy, v'achlu, and they ate, v'shashu, and they drank, v'liku shargi, and they lit candles. It was a big simcha, it was a yom tov. They had an enemy that was coming to destroy them, and the enemy left. Geshmak, it's a party. Right? Adis chazi b'lyona de gushpanka, you could see the image on a coin, Baruch Mila, that's how light it was. From all the candles that they lit, even if you'd be a mile away, it was so light that you could see the image on a coin. So he turns around and he notices that they're making this big party. So he says, Michtu Amar Michtu Kachadu B'Yehudah. The Jews are celebrating. They're making fun of me. They're celebrating with me, like against me. So then he said, no. That's it. I'm going back. He came back, and that was the end of Tur Malka. 300,000 sword bearers went up to Tur Malka, and they killed people for 3 days and 3 nights straight. On one side they were still partying, and they didn't know that on the other side there was a massive destruction going on. It was such a big place. And the pasuk says, "Bila Hashem lechamas kolna ois Yaakov." Hashem will swallow up, and He won't have pity on all the beauty of Yaakov. It's going on this thing. Kiyatza Rav and Amr Yechanan. It's talking about Elu Shishim Riva Yaris. There's 600,000 cities. Shehaylo Liyan Emel Bar Melech. That Yan Emel had in Har Melech. The Amar of Yehuda Amar Vasi Shishim Riva Yaris. Shehaylo Liyan Emel Bar Melech. He had 600,000 cities. They each had like the Yetz Mitzrayim, which was 600,000 people. Except for 3 cities that double the amount of Yetz Mitzrayim. Elohim, Kfar Bish, Kfar Shechlaim, Kfar Dechraya. A little hard to understand these concepts, these numbers. 600,000 cities with 600,000 people is like 360 million or something like that. No, 360 billion.
In China.
Whatever. It's a lot of people. How could it be that they had so many people? So the Pasha says that there's certain numbers that the Gemara says. There's certain numbers that are exaggeration numbers, and one of them is 60, and one of them is 10,000. Whenever they say Kiyetz Mitzrayim, it's even a Gemara in Nedarim. We once learned this. So we're talking about the halachos of Emes and Sheker. If anyone was still around in those days or remembers. So part of the halachos of Emes and Sheker is that there's a concept called being megazim. There's a concept called exaggerating. And if a person says, I saw in this street, Ki Yotze Mitzrayim, right? It's not a shua, whatever it is, I forgot. It's not a shua sheker or something like that. I'm not saying correct 100%. But the idea is that when you say Yotze Mitzrayim, what you mean is a lot of people. You don't mean specifically 600,000. So you go to, a huge, massive wedding, and you say, wow, there's Yotze Mitzrayim. It doesn't mean there was 600,000 people. So the Gemara also uses certain numbers as expressions of large numbers, even though they're not exact. So the Pasha says there was not 600,000 cities with 600,000 people, but there was a lot of cities with a lot of people. Little difficult. Okay.
What's the purpose of exaggerating?
The purpose is to...
for Gemara.
I guess because they didn't know the exact number. They're trying to say it was huge. Maybe they didn't know. There was no census. So they're saying there's lots and lots of cities, lots and lots of people in every city.
Give it a specific number times that's like it's a good way of exaggerating. It's more specific when you give times
Right.
something.
They're talking about what was destroyed by Caesar at this point?
Yes.
Or what was in Eretz Yisrael at this point?
Har Malka. Tur Malka. Just
Har
Malka.
Malka.
Yeah, we're going to see in a second, yeah?
So does that apply also for earlier reasons? To jump a meal?
Maybe.
Is that a bit of an exaggeration?
I don't know. I don't know. Okay. So now there was 3 cities that had double. Kfar Bish, Kfar Shechlan, Kfar Dechraya. Kfar Bish, the law Yavi Beis Elushpiza. It was an embarrassing place because they would not give their house to guests. They were bad people. Kfar Shechlan, Shloisa Parnasa min Shechlan. They would have Parnasa from Shechlan, from a certain kind of food. Kfar Dechraya, Amar B'Yochanan Shloisa Shloisem Yodu Shcham Tchila. The women would always have boys first. And then they would have a girl upasegas, and then they would stop having kids. And that was considered to be a bad thing because having girls brings bracha to the world, and when they had a girl, they would stop, not have more girls. Amar Ula, Ula is troubled with this exaggeration, with this numbers. He says, I saw this spot. You couldn't even fit 600,000 reeds. Forget about 600,000 cities, and each city contains 600,000 people. I saw it. It's a small little place. You can't even fit 600,000 reeds.
So in other words, not a lot.
He's asking a question.
It wasn't with the number.
One second, we're not done yet.
A lot altogether.
One second, yeah, but we're not done yet. What are you guys, liars? You're lying? You guys are a bunch of liars. Look at this little place. How could you say there's so many people there? Amalei Eretz Tzvi. Eretz Yisrael is called Eretz Tzvi. Siv. But Ma Tzvi Zeh Ein Oyer Maslikas B'Shar. Just like a deer. Once you take off the skin, you cannot get the skin back on. The skin can't fit. It stretches while it's alive, but as soon as you take it off, you cannot get it back on because it's too small. When Klal Yisrael lived in Eretz Yisrael, it stretched. Then it got very small. So when Ula came along many, many, many years later and saw Tur Malka and said, hey, it's tiny, that's because it was tiny, because Eretz Yisrael has the ability to stretch, just like we all know that one day we're all going to be going to Eretz Yisrael. How are we going to fit? Where are we going to go?
Greater.
What?
Just like everybody have their own.
Right.
It's the same as the Beis Hamikdash in the Zohar.
Okay, next, let's keep going. Rav Menumi bar Chilkiah, Rav Chilkiah bar Tuvia, Rav Huna bar Chia, Rav Yatsi Gabay Dara, they were sitting together. Amri, one of them said, Yikar Deshmiele Milsa Mikfar Shechani Sham Mitzrayim Lema. Anybody heard about Kfar Shechani Sham Mitzrayim? That was a place that was also destroyed at this time. And they wanted to know if it was a holy place, it was a good place, or it was a bad place. So there was a story that a man was betrothed to a woman. They're married. They were betrothed. Wait, could you do that? Could you use the regular one just in case I get stuck with something? Some hard words. Sorry. So Nashru, that they got captured by the Goyim, and they married them off to each other. So this was they were already betrothed and they got married. Amrullah, she said to him, I ask of you a favor, don't touch me. I don't have a ksuva. Until you have a ksuva, you're not allowed to live with your wife. And he did not touch her until they died. So they lived together. And when he died, or when they died, when he died, she said to them, Siftu lezeh, say a hesped about this person. He overcame his yetzer, his desires, even more than Yosef HaTzadik. There was only one time. This was every day. They didn't sleep in one bed. They lived together. It wasn't his wife. And this was his wife. So he overcame a much greater challenge than this person did. So we see that Kfar Shechani Sham Mitzrayim was a great place.
What was the problem? You said they got married.
They didn't have a ksuba.
Why'd they get one?
I don't know. Pasach Ida v'Amar. I don't know if the people are familiar with learning a Gadata. I don't want to get too involved in a side discussion. But when you learn a Gadata,
Don't ask questions.
yeah, and it's not so simple that you're even supposed to. Whatever, let's leave that discussion. Maybe one day we'll have a discussion on how a Gadata Gemara works. We can talk about what the different people discuss about a Gadata, and whether everything is supposed to be taken literal or not supposed to be taken literal. It's very interesting discussions. Maybe one day we'll talk about it. Let's leave that for now. Kasha. Okay. There was a story in this city that 40 measures of wheat costed a dinar. There was inflation, and now a dinar only costed 39. Bought you 39. But they're very disturbed. Why did we have inflation, right? Nowadays we're used to it, but they were disturbed. They searched and they found there was a son and a father that they lived with a nar marasa, a woman who was betrothed to someone else on Yom Kippur. They brought them to Bezin, Saklum, and they hung them, and they stoned them, and the price went back. So yeah, basically we got to search out what's going wrong in the world, and then we'll understand why we're having inflation.
Why the stock market's dropping?
Why the stock market's dropping?
You gotta be careful.
Shoot the market.
So again, we see that they're a great place because one Maisa that went wrong caused inflation. When they fixed that Maisa, so the price went back. If there was thousands of things going wrong, it would be kind of difficult to fix the inflation problem because a lot of things are rotten from within. It's, you know.
So like in the middle, they were judged on their level. One
Right.
thing made it so bad.
Right, exactly.
They must have been on a high.
And it wasn't even such dramatic inflation.
Right, it was not a dramatic inflation.
Interesting monetary policy. Did you know if it would
Today, solve the world's problems. Build a few
It's as good as anything they've got right now.
Also, you gotta be careful what you say about the tea party with me around. Pasach Idach v'Amar. There was a certain person who put his eyes on a woman, Lagarsha, to divorce her. But he had a very expensive ksuba, and he didn't want to pay. So he decided to do a little trick over here. So what did he do? He invited some friends, and he gave them food, and he gave them to drink, and he got them drunk. He got everybody drunk. He put them onto one bed with his wife. And he brought the egg yolk. The white of an egg. He put it on the bed. The Hemilam ate him, and he brought Adam. He said, "Come quick, look!" And he showed the Adam. And here's this man together with his wife in bed, and there was a luba and beitza. There was the white of an egg on the bed. And why did he do this? Because then he wouldn't have to pay the ksuba. Ubala Bezdin, and he came to Bezdin. Haysham Zaken Echel. There was a smart man, older man, and Talmid Shammai. Zaken was from Talmidim of Shammai. Ubala Ben Buta, his name is Bala Ben Buta. Amalam Kach Mechublanim Shammai Zaken. This is what I learned from Shammai. Luban Beitza Salam in Ar. Luban Beitza changes. It dries up from the fire. But Shechva Zera Doichem in Ar. But Shechva Zera goes into the fabric and it doesn't harden.
Fire or air?
Fire. Take a light, take a fire, put it up against it, and you can do a test and you can tell which one it is. Batku, Matzu, Ketvarv, it was Luban Beitza. I guess.
Scramble.
What? So we had so Bala Ben Buta, what made him decide to do this test? Because it was a funny story. This guy, it was kind of clear this guy wanted to get out of his ksuba, and he arranged the whole thing. But what could they do? Here they have the shechla zar. So he says, look, there's a test, and they did the test, and it turned out it was egg yolk.
Forensics.
And they gave him malchus, and they made him pay the ksuba. Don't try this at home. Okay. So if they're such great people, so why were they punished and wiped out? Amalei mishum d'loyavel Yerushalayim, because they did not have a velus on Yerushalayim. The Siv Simchus Yerushalayim v'gilu bo kol aveh sisu adam asois kol mis'abel maleh. Anyone who has a velus Yerushalayim has this happiness. But if you're not mis'abel Yerushalayim, it's bad news, and that's why they were happy, they were complacent on some level where they were. They weren't mis'abel Yerushalayim, so that's why they were wiped out. Okay.
Practice in your mind and your actions
On their level.
during the year,
On their level.
right? On Tisha B'Av.
Sometimes different discussion. Okay, next story. The third and final story. Ashaka the Rispa Char Beitar. Beitar was destroyed because of the story of the side of a carriage. Davanahigi, they had a minute. When a boy was born, Shashli Arza, they would plant a cedar tree. Yunuksa, when a girl was born, Shashli Ternisa, they would plant a pine tree. When they would get married, they would cut it down and make the chuppah from there. They would make the chuppah was where they got married. It's like a house of some sort. One time, the daughter of the Kesar was driving by. The side of her carriage got destroyed. So she cut down one of these cedar trees to fix her carriage. This is the daughter of the Caesar. She used it. They went and they fought against her. They killed them. You die. The Jews are rebelling against you. And he came to fight against Beitar. So little incidents can sometimes lead to much greater events. You should be careful who you start up with and be aware that starting up may lead to much greater problems. And again, obviously to understand that there was different factions within Klal Yisrael, and there was low people at the time. And it doesn't mean that everybody went along and did this. It means that a group of people did this. But as we see, this place called Tur Malka was a low place. There was a lot of low people. There was a lot of assimilation at that time, and there was a lot of tzedekим and baryonim. But the rabbis of the time, the Talmidei Chacham of the time, always suggested the peaceful route, not starting up, not going and attacking, because they took the side of a carriage. It's not wise to start up.
Right way. It's Postman race. They would have fought. Who comes to maybe you just want to be destroyed. I know, we'll talk
Afterwards. Chop off. Hashem is going to chop off with anger all the splendor, all the hide of Yisrael, the horns of Yisrael. Who's this going on? This was the 80,000 battle troops that came into the city of Beitar at the time when it was destroyed, captured, and they destroyed men, women, and children until the blood went, and all the blood from all these people went into the Yamagoro. Maybe Yamagoro was close by, maybe it's no big deal, so it went to Yamagoro. Maybe it was close by. No, it was a mile away. It was like a river of blood. There was so much blood. There was a river of blood that traveled a whole mile to Yamagoro. There was two streams. One was going this direction, one was going that direction. There's so much blood at these two streams at that point were 2 parts water to every 1 part blood. That's how much blood there was.
Do we consider this an exaggeration? Or?
The Mishnah says, for 7 years, the Avdei Chacham were able to fertilize their fields from the blood of the Jews. They didn't need any fertilizer. This was by the destruction of Beitar. When was Beitar? Beitar was, what? After the destruction of the second Beis HaMikdash, there was a man named Bar Kochva. Anyone ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Bar Kochva was a very, very, very powerful and dynamic figure who came up, and they called him that because the pasuk says something like the Kochav will come up, Mitzvah or something, and they thought that he was like a Mashiach or the king of the Jews. They anointed him as the king of the Jews. I don't remember the entire story. Rabbi Kiva even might have gone along with it temporarily. What?
Rabbi Akiva was one who strongly supported him.
Temporarily, I think. Right. Anyways, I don't remember all the details offhand, but the bottom line is that they ended up that they had a massive city and all the Jews were in Beta and they were very strong and powerful and they were able to overcome for a very long time. And this was like the last sort of stronghold. And because of some stories, what happened was they ended up being wiped out, and that's the story that we're having over here. And that was a destruction which was just as great almost as because it was like sort of the final step in the destruction of the second Beis Hamikdash and the second Eretz Yisrael. Now we go to the first destruction of the first Beis Hamikdash. Everything we've been talking about until now has been the destruction of the second Beis Hamikdash. Remember, they happened on the same day. Amar Rav Chia bar Oven. So we turn the page. Nun Zayin Amar Beis on the top of the page. Amar Rav Chia bar Oven. Amar Rav Yeshua ben Levi ben Korcha. Rav Chia bar Oven said, "Name Yeshua ben Korcha. Sachli Zalkan Echad." An older man from the men of Yerushalayim told me, "Bebikazu in this valley, Harag Nevuzraden, Rav Tavachim Nevuzraden, the head of the butchers, Masayim v'achas Esrei Rivoy. He killed 211 10,000s, which is 2,000,000 and 110,000. That's how many killed in this valley. Yerushalayim and Yerushalayim Harag Tisha Abba Rivoy. He killed 940,000 al Evan Achas on one stone. So that's about 3 million people he himself killed. Until their blood went and touched the blood of Zechariah. To fulfill what it says, the blood will touch the blood. What's the story? He saw the blood of Zechariah. The Havakam Mirsach was solid. The blood of Zechariah was bubbling. So what's the story? There was a man named Zechariah. Zechariah was a Kohen v'Navi. He was a Kohen and a Navi. And they killed him inside the Beis Hamikdash. What happened was, it was the days of Yoash. Yoash made himself into Avodah Zarah, and he went and gave muster to them, and they killed him. And it was a big sin that they did, that they killed a Kohen v'Navi inside the Beis Hamikdash. I think it was on Kippur?
I think so.
So this blood never stopped bubbling. And the blood of Zechariah never stopped bubbling. So comes Nevuzrad and Rav Tavachim, and he sees this blood. She says, Amar, my high, what is this blood bubbling for? So they said to him, Amar, they said to him, Dam Zvachim Dishtavach. It's the blood from the animals that we shechted, the karbanos. It's spilled. I said, dummy, so he brought blood, and it wasn't comparable. What he did was he shechted all the different kinds of animals that I brought in the Beis Hamikdash, and he brought their blood, and he compared the blood, and it wasn't comparable. Amalu, if you tell me the truth, great, so good, tell me. I'm going to peel your skins with combs of iron until you tell me. Amalei, my name. Look, what should we do? We got to tell you. Navi Hava was a Navi. Navi Hava Ban. There was a Navi by us. We gave him. He was giving us Musar. Kamina Lave. We got up against him. And we killed him. It's been many years that his blood has not rested. I will make this blood happy. I will make this blood pay back. He brought the Sanhedrin and the Sanhedrin Katana. He killed them. The blood didn't come. He brought single boys and single women. He killed them. He brought children. He killed them. It still didn't calm down. Zechariah. He said to the blood, Zechariah, I've destroyed everybody. I've destroyed so many good people. You want me just to keep killing? Enough already, Zechariah. Just stop bubbling so I can stop. That's when it calmed down. By his shaita, at that moment, hear her tshuva b'daite. This was Radan, Sarah Tabach, who killed 3 million people. He started to realize he got some tshuva. Look at this. Klal Yisrael killed 1 person. Look how many people had to be killed as a kapara for that 1 person. And I, Ahu Gavra, myself, I killed so many people. So Kal V'chomer, what's going to have to happen to me? What's my punishment going to be? If all these people were punished for killing 1, so how much will I be punished for killing all these people? Araki went off. Azol Sadr Star Patras B'Beisei. He sent a star to his house that he's leaving. Right? And it was a will. Star Patras B'Beisei V'Gai and became a ger. So Nevuzradim became a ger. Tana. Naaman ger toshav haya. Naaman was a ger toshav. Wasn't a real ger, but it was a partial ger. Nevuzradim ger tzedek haya.
So how could they accept such a person?
Nevuzradim became a complete ger.